I'd like to invite the speakers to once again turn on their web cameras, and we are going to change the screen into discussion mode. Speakers, if you could turn on your cameras, and audience members, this is your time to ask our speakers any questions you have related to their presentations. Please feel free to use the chat box. Yeah, we look forward to a robust discussion following these excellent presentations. Thank you again to our speakers.
So for our program, there are 5 students chosen each year. And I think that's going to be for next year too. That's usually the amount that they accept.
The acceptance rate, I think, is about 17%.
Yeah, I think it's like 15 or something.
In between 10 and 20.
Yeah, they don't release statistics every year, and on your acceptance letter, it usually has a number of how many people applied, and then you can calculate it.
For transportation.
Transportation is very much dependent on your host family, but I don't think any of us really take public transportation too often, except for the school buses.
Yeah, we did take a train to get here. But.
So some of us, I take the school bus to school. Some people have drivers that drive them to school.
Yeah. My parents drive me to school.
Or your parents. My host family has an Activa moped, so I get to ride on that a lot, which is pretty awesome. Then there's an iBus as well that I've taken a couple times with my host family, and that's actually some really good public transportation. Yeah. It has its own lane, so it's a lot faster in the traffic.
Good. There's like one lane for buses in the middle of the road, and only buses can use it. So that's actually a pretty good idea. What advice would you give for aspiring students who want to be part of this program? It will be challenging. It is going to be probably one of the most challenging years of your life, but it is very rewarding, and you feel like you grow a lot.
Yeah, and definitely be super open to the other culture if you're coming. Like, it's going to be super different, especially India's culture is really different from the US, and sometimes that might seem challenging, but you're going to learn and understand a whole new way of life, which is incredible.
And give yourself time to absorb it, because the first week I got to indoor, there were a lot of confusing stuff. I wanted a lot of my the stuff around me, the physical stuff, to be like it was in America. And if you just give yourself 2 weeks, it goes away and you get used to stuff and it makes more sense.
And everything will get sorted out. It will get figured out. That's important to remember. Another question, what percentage of people roughly in indoor speak English?
I think
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's indoors the business district of Madhya Pradesh, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
So a lot of people speak English because of that, and it's also the education center of India. So a lot of people speak English because of that. So,
and for our generation and around our age, it's most people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our parents' generation, it's still a lot of people, but a lot of my aunts and uncles don't.
Yeah, especially the families that we're placed in, since they're usually more better educated, they do speak English. The maids in our house, the bias, they won't. So it depends what class level people are into.
Had you all had previous language experience before starting to learn Hindi? Not really.
I am the only one who had any experience, and in Hindi. Yeah, in Hindi. Even I didn't really know too much Hindi before I came here. Very basic Hindi, and we're all at the same point now, so it didn't make much of a difference.
Yeah.
Travel time to other parts of India. Okay, that really depends. If you're taking the train, it's probably going to be an overnight train. So we took an overnight train to Indore from Delhi, and that was about 14 hours.
How often we're traveling?
Yeah.
My bad, misinterpreted that question.
So it depends on your host family. You can get trips approved to be able to travel with your host family. For Diwali, I'm going to Punjab for about a week, but most of our trips are at the end of our program. We go to Agra and see the Taj and stuff like that, and go to Varanasi. How are you adapting to the food in India?
I was really worried about the food being too spicy. Host families are amazing. For the first month they're there, my mom cooked me separate food that wasn't as spicy without me saying anything, just so I would be able to adjust to it more easily.
Yeah.
I would say there's going to be points where people are saying things to you like, hey, don't eat raw vegetables. And you're going to think, what's the worst that could happen? And I would just advise that you listen to them.
Yeah. I love the food because I get Punjabi food in my host family, and my host mom did take away the spice, but as I stayed longer, she started adding more, and it is very good. So then, Vyom, I think you have a question.
So yeah, thank you so much for the question. And so I did sort of highlight this a little bit, but to actually go in a little deeper, actually through my exchange, when I actually say, as I was able to resonate with what Alexis was saying in terms of strict classes, in terms of how respect is given, and in terms of how you talk to elders. This is just one example that when students come to India, they definitely have a lot of questions that, if I say this, am I offending somebody? If I do this, I hope I hope it's not incorrect. I hope it's acceptable. And and why are they doing this? Why is this happening? And they definitely have a lot of questions in terms of actually understanding and the culture and how people really are. And as again, I think Alexis pointed out the fact that India is a very indirect culture, and for American students particularly, when you come from a very direct culture, that does seem just very sort of at times be a little that comes in your way at times. And how it has helped me to really connect is after being in my exchange in the US, it helps me understand the perspective that they come from, and to help bridge the gap and actually talk to them and explain it to them, and explain that what are the real cultural differences and how what is actually happening. I hope that answers the question. I think the next one is for you, I guess, Zoe, Alexis, and Nicole.
So, what rewards have you reaped already in your program?
How would you carry forward this experience? How would you carry your experience further? I want to go into international relations, and this is a great way to start my career with intercultural learning and learning about different languages. It's a great way to connect with different people and learn how to be diplomatic, which is what I want to do.
And truly understand another culture and another way of life, which you can really only get from living in that place for an extended period of time.
Okay, and then what rewards have you reaped already in your program, and what challenges have you faced that you weren't expecting?
I think one of the rewards that we've already reaped is our host families.
Yeah, the relationship with our host families
is incredible.
Is great to have. We can visit them. My host family said I can visit them whenever I want, after this, and they're very sweet and loving and really open to communication. So other rewards, definitely our Hindi is progressing. I definitely know more Hindi than I did when I came here.
Yeah, one really cool thing is that our Hindi teacher is a royal priest, and so that always has its interesting perks from our Hindi teacher.
And then what challenges have you faced that you weren't expecting? There have been a lot.
Yeah.
Right when you get here, you hit culture shock.
We didn't.
It was culture
shock until after the first month, and then we were like, oh, the reason we're having all these different challenges are because the culture is so different, and that helped a lot in solving some of those.
So sometimes you'll think that you're being very respectful and nice, but adults will take it as that you're being disrespectful and rude. So sometimes there'll be a huge miscommunication. And that's a lot of the problems that we face, is a lot of miscommunications with people. Mm-hmm. I even recently had one with my host mom where she thought that I was making a sarcastic comment when I was actually just saying something that made me happy, and I was just talking about it. She got upset because of it, and I was asking her what's wrong, and she explained it to me, and it was fine. But it's just small miscommunications like that because our communication systems are very different.
Yeah. There's also been some emotional and mental challenges that we faced, but it's really taught us to think positive and have a good mindset and see everything, appreciate everything we do have.
It's also amazing that you can see yourself overcoming these challenges and growing because of it.
Yeah. So much growing and learning.
Yes. I think a big thing that really surprised me maybe is that, we've talked about it a few times already, that India is a very collectivist culture, and we're sort of coming in and trying to find a place for ourselves within the culture. And I think that we're all very much at the beginning, but now we're more or less fine. But at the beginning, we were very much struggling to find out where we were supposed to be as foreigners in this country. And so that was something that I struggled with a lot too.
Yeah, there is definitely another challenge is you do get stared at a lot because we're foreigners, and Indore is not very diverse
in terms of nationality.
So if I walk down the street, people stare a lot, and my host dad will usually yell at them. So.
In what ways is the YES program different than the NSLI program?
So, Vyom, I think you can answer this one better on YES.
So the YES program is basically focuses on students who go from major Muslim populated countries to the United States to study for a year, for an academic year. And the YES Abroad program is on which students from the United States go to major Muslim populated countries. I was on the YES program to the United States, whereas the students for whom I was a local coordinator, Lauren, last year, was on the YES Abroad, and of course in this year I'm also the local coordinator for the YES Abroad, and I'm working with Zoe, Alexis, and Nicole as well from the office as well. And also to get back to the fact that how the YES program is different from the NSLI-Y program. The NSLI-Y program is primarily focused on Hindi language learning, whereas the YES program is an academic, is a cultural educational exchange program wherein the students attend classes just like all the normal other peers in their classes, but do not really get into the Hindi language learning as a primary goal. For the NSLI-Y program, the Hindi language learning is a primary goal.
Okay, so the webinar has to end soon, so we're going to really quickly answer these questions. Okay, so then in your group of exchange students for NSLI, there are only women. Do you think the experience would be different for men versus women?
Definitely.
And yes, it definitely would.
Even just at our school, the boys have more freedom than the girls.
Yeah, it's definitely something. My host family is a lot more protective of whether I can go out or not, just because I'm female. And usually my host dad, like, someone's always with me. I'm never left. I don't think I've been left alone for more than 10 minutes yet. Otherwise, like, if you were male in here, you'd probably be able to walk around and you wouldn't get as many looks or anything like that.
I know I was talking to a girl who's on the Rotary program, and she was describing the experience of a boy who's on program, and she says that oftentimes she'll have a conversation with him and she'll say, oh, I stayed home and helped my mom cook dinner. And he will say things like, I went out with my friends to get chai, which is just something that I don't think any of us really feel like we could confidently just go and do at any point.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for the excellent discussion. I'm going to pull up our PowerPoint one more time. We just wanted to bring your attention to a couple resources related to NSLI. The first is the NSLI website that you can see pictured on this slide. This is where you can learn more about the NSLI program, including how to apply. The application for the 2017-2018 programs is now available, and completed applications must be submitted by October 27th this year at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So the application deadline is coming up, but there is still time to apply. So if you have any questions or would like more information, please visit that website. The next resource we wanted to share is the NSLI Interactive website, which showcases the language learning and cross-cultural experiences of NSLI students and alumni through their stories and multimedia. We'll be posting the recording of this virtual event on this NSLI Interactive website, so anyone who is not able to attend can still enjoy the presentations. The next virtual event, if you are interested, will be held next month with academic year students in Taiwan. A big thank you to our incredible speakers, Zoe, Nicole, Alexis, and Vyom. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everyone for joining this event. Have a great day. Goodbye.